Welcome to LIVEDAF, your online Daf Yomi shir.
Shalom and welcome to today's Daf Yomi Niddah Daf Samach Vav. We're on Samach Hey Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. Tanu Rabbanon. We've learned in the Brisa. Haroya dam machmas tashmish. If an isha sees dam, she experiences bleeding machmas tashmish as a result of tashmish. In that case, we're concerned that perhaps it is the actual maset tashmish which is bringing about the riyas dam, and in that case, it is a major concern, because if this is an ongoing phenomena, then they are risking tashmish with a niddah. Since the tashmish itself may cause the dam, so it turns out that the maset tashmish takes place with a niddah. So what do we do? How do we determine if this is merely a one-time occurrence, or this will be an ongoing phenomena? Haroya dam machmas tashmish mishameshes pam rishoina ushnia ushlishis. They do tashmish 3 times, because up to 3 times we have no reason to believe that this was a nature that this will keep on going, but perhaps it's just an incident, a one-time incident, up until 3 times. At that point, it is already called chazaka. She already establishes a presumption, a chazaka, that this is the way it's going to be going forward. If that's the case, from here on, she can't continue being mishamish with this man. She needs to get divorced and attempt with another husband. Perhaps things will fare better at that point. Tizgarish, and she will marry somebody else. And as Rashi brings the Gemara later on, the fingers aren't all alike. This is a mashal to the aver of the ish. Not all men have the same effect. Will have the same effect. Perhaps the tashmish with the second husband will not result in riyas dam as it did with her first husband. Continues the Gemara. Nisis la'achar. She married a second husband. V'rasa dam machmas tashmish. And once again, the same thing occurred. She experienced dam as a result of the tashmish. Continues the Brisa. Mishameshes pam rishoina ushnia ushlishis. She can go on once, twice, up to a 3rd time. And at that point again, she has completed the 3 times required to establish a chazaka. The chazaka in this case is 3 times. Taisus points out that although we have a general machlekes in Shas, how many times constitute a chazaka? According to Rebbe, all you need is 2 times. According to Shimon Gamliel, one is required to do something 3 times for it to be considered a chazaka. Nevertheless, in our case, says Taisus, since it is not such a conclusive thing, it is not so certain that one is bringing about the other, that the tashmish is causing the dam. In this case, Rebbe agrees to Shimon Gamliel that one is required to have it done 3 times. We need 3 occurrences to establish a full chazaka. Continues the Brisa. What happens with the second husband after 3 times, and she has experienced dam niddah, dam machmas tashmish? From here on, once again, the same procedure. She cannot continue being mishamish with him until she divorces and she needs to marry yet a 3rd husband. What happens then? Nisas la'acher, tashmish, and once again she experiences dam as a result of the tashmish with the 3rd husband. Continues the Brisa, mishameshes pam rishoina ushnia shlishis. She may be mishamish up to 3 times. At that point, she has completed a full-fledged chazaka. She was mishamish 3 times with 3 different husbands. So certainly, we can conclude from this that it is not the husband factor that's affecting her, since this happened with 3 separate husbands. So now we conclude that this would happen with anybody. 3 people, 3 men, 3 husbands provide a chazaka, a presumption that it is not Reuven, it is not Shimon, it is not Levi who is causing it, but rather any man would have the same result. And therefore, she is forbidden to go marry anybody else until tivdek atzma. There's only one solution. She has to perform a thorough examination to determine whether the dam is actually dam nidos, it is coming from the womb, from the rechem, and is dam tuma, or merely just from the stadim, from the walls of the canal, the vaginal canal, which is as a result of perhaps the pressure of the aver tashmish. In that case, it is merely dam makkah, and it is tar. So how do we determine? Says the Brisa, Keitzad boidekes es atzma. How does she perform this examination? Mevia shvei feres. She brings a tube which is reminiscent of an Ever Tashmish. She takes that and she inserts it into Oisei Mokim, into the place of Tashmish. And inside the tube, there's a mikhail, like sort of a twig, a long piece of wood, and on top of the stick, there's a wad, a cotton of some sort of material. And when she inserts the tube, she uses the stick with the wad at the tip to check exactly, to pinpoint the source of this dam. So the inserting of the tube is sort of a reproduction of the masa bia, of the masa tashmish, and the inserting of the stick and determining where the dam flows from will help us clarify the source and the status of this dam. If it's just minat stadim and it's a dam maka, or it's minat maka and it's dam tuma. Says the Brisa, Mevia shvei feres. She brings a tube with a stick, a moich munach al reishay, with a moich at the tip, and she duplicates the masa tashmish and checks. Im dimtza dam al reisha moich. If you find dam on the tip, b'yodoshim and makar, that is directly emanating from the source and is considered dam niddah. B'yodoshim and makar lo nimtza dam al reishay. If there is no dam found on the moich, in that case, b'yodua sheminat stadim huba. Then we know, we can conclude that the dam that she had previously experienced as a result of the tashmish was not coming from the makar and is not dam niddah, but rather merely minat stadim as a result of the pressure on the walls of the canal, and the dam is merely dam maka, considered dam from a wound, which is tahor. So this is the only way for her to continue to be married and be mishamish, if she performs this examination, which will conclude where is the source of this dam. Continues the Gemara. If she knows, she's certain that she has a maka, she has a wound in that area, in that case, she doesn't even need to, she's not even required to perform the bedika. She can conclude, she can attribute the dam that she's seeing, machmas tashmish, she can connect it to the maka, and she is tar. It continues the Brisa, if she has a fixed period, a fixed time when this happens, she sees dam machmas tashmish that only takes place at certain times of the month, etc. In that case, there's an easy way out. She attributes it to the vest, to this specific time. So now she's careful not to be mishamish at that time only. Otherwise, she is mutter. There's no reason to believe that this would happen during other times as well. Continues the Brisa, if the dam that's emanating from the wound, she knows she has a wound, but the dam that's coming out from the maka appears different, has a different shade of red, mishuna midam riyasa, is different than the dam that she's experienced, machmas tashmish, and certainly she cannot connect it to, she cannot attribute to the dam machmas tashmish to the dam maka, since it is a different color. An isha is trusted, she's believed to say, indeed, I have a maka in the womb, that is producing the dam, and in that case, she's tar, since she's attributing the dam to the maka. Divrei Rebbe. We believe in isha, as the Mefarshim say, because it says v'safra law, the Torah granted ne'amanus to the isha. She's fully believed regarding the halachas of Niddah. She counts 7 days on her own, the Shiva Nekiyim, we trust her. And in this case as well, she's ne'aman to say exactly where the dam is coming from. She doesn't need any additional support of Eidim, etc. She's ne'aman on her own, And incidentally, Tosfos in Gittin says that this is the makar, this is the source of the halacha of eid echad neman b'yisurin, that one eid alone, on his own, is neman regarding halachas of isser v'heter. If a yid says this is kosher food, you may trust him, may believe him. One is not required to have two eidim to provide information regarding isser v'heter. And Tosfos brings this pasuk of a safrala by an isha who's a niddah. We see that the Torah completely trusted an isha, although she's only one person. Continues the brisa. So an isha is never to say this dam is coming from the makar, according to Rebbe. Shimon Gamliel Omer, dam makar habavan makar tamei. Dam makar, which is channeled through the womb, through the makar, is tamei. Rabbi Seinu Hidu, our Rebbeim taught us, al dam makar habab min makar shutar. A dam dam coming from a wound, even if it comes into contact with the makar, with the womb, is actually tar. So what is the difference? What's going? What are they discussing? Are they discussing the status of the isha that cannot be? If an isha knows that she has a makar, and the dam is originating from the makar, so regardless of if it passes through the makar, if it comes into contact with the makar, she will remain tar. So what then are they discussing? Shimon Gamliel and our Rabbi Seinu and our teachers. What are they arguing about? According to Rav Shimon Gamliel, the dam is tamei. According to Rabbi Seinu, it is tar. Says the Gemara, "My benayu." What is the basis of their machlokes? Amar ula mekor mekayim tamei ika benayu. The makar, the womb, the source of blood, mekayim tamei, is that considered to be tamei on its own? That is ika benayu. That is the difference. That is what they are arguing about. Meaning, although the isha herself is certainly not considered to be a niddah, when we know for certain that she has makah and the dam is flowing from the wound, what they are discussing is a totally different halacha. Tosfos says, Tosfos Daf Zayin says that this is halacha Moshe Sinai. Although the isha is tar, it is not considered to be dam niddah. However, since the blood, the dam, is coming into contact with the makar, is flowing through the makar, is brushing by the makar, in that case there is a tumah on the actual dam, is considered to be an avatuma and can be tamei, whoever comes into contact with it. So this is a side machlekes unrelated to the actual hilchas niddah of the isha, but rather it is a question of what is the status, what is the halachic status of the actual dam, if someone is to come into contact with the dam after it passes by the makar. According to Rav Shimon Gamliel, it is tamei. According to Rabbi Seinu, this dam is tar, since it is dam makar, regardless of whether it passes through the makar or not. Says the Gemara, Shvei Feres, you describe the bedika, the isha duplicates the ma'aseh tashmish by inserting a tube, and that will determine the source of the dam. Shvei Feres, using a tube, if guri mefagrila, this will scratch her, this will actually make things worse. It will actually instigate dam. It will cause her to bleed further. We're speaking about a lead tube, which is smooth, which will not scratch. Opia, and the opening of the tube is doubled inward. It is doubled inside into the inside of the tube, and it is very smooth on the outside. It will not cause any harm. Continues the Gemara. We said that an isha who's roya damachas tashmish, she will be mishamish 3 times with the first husband without bedika. Afterwards, she needs to get divorced, marry a second husband, try it again for 3 times, and if that doesn't work, be misgarish and marry a third person and be mishamish for 3 times. After which, she's required to make a bedika in order to continue staying married. Says the Gemara, Amar lei Reish Lakish Rabbi Yochanan, v'tivdik atzma b'biyah shlishis. Why don't you allow her to examine herself after the 3rd biyah? Shel ba'al harishan. Why is she obligated to get divorced? We generally try to avoid it at all costs. Why don't you allow her to do a bedika back by the first husband? When you see that she was mishamish 3 times and was still roya machmas tashmish, don't obligate her to get divorced. At that point, right then and there, why don't we perform the bedika shreferes to determine where the dam is coming from? Now, on the event that the dam is coming in at stadim, it is not dam niddah, then she can stay married with the first husband. Why does she need to go and marry a second person and then a third person? Says the Gemara, Since all fingers aren't alike, this is a mashal to the Ever Tashmish, meaning that the effect of the Tashmish with one man isn't necessarily the same as with the other. And therefore we prefer her getting married again and trying a second husband. Perhaps they will not incur the same problem, rather than allowing it to stay with the first husband and performing a badika, because the badika it's spotty, it's not necessarily, we're concerned that perhaps it won't be performed properly, it won't be done accurately, and therefore we prefer avoiding it, avoiding having to succumb to badikos, which carries some sort of risk with it, and preferably she should marry a second husband and try again. Perhaps they will not incur the same problem at all, and she will not be required to be miskarish nor do any b'tikus. If so, you told me fine that we want to try a different man and determine whether his tashmish will bring the dam. So once she tried it with a second husband and it didn't work, and you required her to be miskarish and marry yet a third husband, why does she do bia 3 times with the third husband as soon as she was mishamish once? So now you conclude you've established the chazaka. You've concluded that it's not attributed to her dam cannot be attributed to the various husbands, because we see that this occurred by 3 different men. So therefore you have a fully established chazaka that this isha will see dam machmas tashmish regardless of with whom she's married to. So why do you allow her? Why is she going to be mishamish 3 times with the third husband? Already at the first time, she's already established a chazaka that she sees dam machmas tashmish with 3 men. Says the Gemara, because all forces of tashmish are not equal. Meaning that even if she sees dam as a result of one masa tashmish, that is not necessarily a raya, a proof that she will see the next time around, since every masa is different, has different nature, has different force and different power, and therefore she goes through 3 different tashmish with the third husband to determine whether she will establish a chazaka to be roya machmas tashmish in all circumstances. And at that point, after 3 times, her chazaka is fully established that A, she is seeing dam machmas tashmish regardless of who the husband is, and B, that she is seeing dam machmas any sort of tashmish regardless of the force and the nature of the tashmish. At that point, there's no alternative but rather to require her and allow her to perform an examination of badika to determine the source of the dam. Now there's an interesting kasha that the Kesef Mishnah asks. We allow her to make examination of badika with a tube and a stick. Now the Gemara over here concludes that ein kol etzba'os shaves, not all fingers are alike. Ein kol hakochos shavim, not all forces are alike. Ask the Kesef Mishnah, how is a tube with a stick a conclusive? How could it provide a conclusive determination of the source of the dam? Perhaps this tube is configured differently than a Ever Tashmish. Just like we say, ein hatzba'os shaves, all men aren't alike. Certainly, a tube is not necessarily a true and accurate duplication of the Ever Tashmish. And the fact that she's not seeing as a result of the insertion of the tube, why is that an absolute raya, proof that she will not see machmas tashmish? Says the Kesef Mishnah, a very interesting thing. Really, in reality, roiv nashim, a majority of women, will not see dam machmas tashmish. This is a very unusual occurrence, something which we don't encounter too often. So therefore, even if this badika isn't really a wholehearted substantiation, it's not complete, it's not an absolute proof, nevertheless, it is sufficient to say that, yeah, it seems like this isha actually belongs to the majority of nashim that do not see machmas tashmish. We are lenient in this case because we are told that this isha belongs to the roiv of ordinary women who do not see dam machmas tashmish, and therefore she is tar. Continues the Gemara, Hahida soil kamei the Rebbe. There was an isha who came to Rebbe with this problem, and she was roya dam machmas tashmish. Amar leila Abdon. So Rebbe told Abdon, his mishamish, his servant, Zil ba'asa, go give her a sudden shock. Azal ba'asa, he did that. He gave her a sudden shock. V'nafal min charar dam, and a clot of blood emerged, fell out, and that seemed to have been the source of her problems. That the dam was emanating from this chareras dam. Amar Rebbe nishraf hazois. Behold, this isha has become cured. Haida soil kamei mar Shmuel. There was a woman who had this problem, and she came to Shmuel. Amar leila Rav Dimi bar Yosef. So Shmuel told Rav Dimi bar Yosef, Zil basa, go give it shakar. Azal basa, he did so. V'leinafel mena v'leimidi, and nothing emerged. Amar Shmuel zum malav v'nefetzes. If so, we have to conclude that Isha indeed has a medical problem. She fills up with dam v'nefetzes, and she empties it during the tashmish. Zum malav v'nefetzes v'chalam malav v'nefetzes. Every Isha who fills and empties during the tashmish ein la takana, there is no real solution to this problem. So in conclusion, regarding an Isha who's roya dam machmas tashmish, she sees dam as a result of the tashmish, what is the method going further? We go ahead and we allow her to be mishamish 3 times with husband A. If that continues, if the dam continues, she marries a second husband, tries 3 times. If she continues seeing dam, she marries a third husband and is mishamish for 3 times. And the reason being that we want to establish a full-fledged chazaka with all types of men, with all types of situations, and all types of koiches of tashmish. If she's still seeing dam, she needs to do a bedika to determine the source of the dam. We have 3 cases of heter that the Isha can indeed be permitted labala even if she sees dam machmas tashmish. Number 1, if she's baidik herself and there is no dam present, at that point we conclude that the dam is coming minat stadim, from the sides of the canal and not from the rechem. Or if she knows that she has a makkah and she attributes the dam to the makkah, then she's tar. And number 3, she has a vest. If she has a fixed time to have the riyas dam machmas tashmish only in a specific time, then she's tail bevesta. She takes care not to be mishamish at that point, but otherwise she is mutter. Continues the Gemara. There was a woman who came to Rabbi Yochanan with the following dilemma. Whenever she emerged from a tfilas mitzvah, she used to see dam. It was a very strange phenomenon. Specifically, only at that point in time, as soon as she finished her Yimei Tahara and she went to the mikveh, boom, she sees dam again. So Rabbi Yochanan told her, Shema, perhaps, you know why this is happening? Dimas irech also beich. The gossip of the women in town has affected you. They're jealous of your exceptionally close relationship that you have with your husband, and that arouses jealousy and perhaps brings an ayin hara, an evil eye, that affects you and results in you seeing dam and being matama you. So what should you do? Lechivi bali loyal gabe anar. Go be mishamishim near the river, meaning ensure that nobody sees you after the tfilas mitzvah, and therefore you will not be affected by the ayin hara. Ikad Amar, there's another version to the story. Amar, he told her, Tigli l'chaversayach, go reveal your problem to your friends, tell them all about your unfortunate situation, that you can't seem to get tar, you're always seeing dam immediately after the tefillah. At that point, they'll have pity on you, they'll arouse pity on you, and they'll have an opposite, they're staring at you, they're relating to you, will be on a totally different plane, it'll be of Rahmanas rather than Ayin Hara. Just like as they stared at you, from one perspective, from a perspective of jealousy, of Ayin Hara, now at this point, since you're in such an unfortunate situation, that will arouse pity, they will begin staring at you and looking at you from a totally different perspective. There's yet a third version to the story. Amar lo, he told her, Galila chavrisayach, go reveal your situation to your friends, ki heichi dilibo alayach rachim, so that they should beg mercy on your behalf, they should ask Hashem to heal you. The Sani we've learned in the Braisa, a similar concept of a tamei yikra. A person who is tamei is referring to a mitzvah. He should announce to the public that he is tamei. Tzarech le'dia ta'atzari l'ravim. He needs to inform the public of his situation. And the public will evoke mercy on him. They will daven to the Eibishter to heal him. Amar Rav Yosef, there was a story, a similar story as mentioned here with the Ayin Hara in the town of Madisa V'itzi, and when she revealed her plight to her friends, that indeed affected her situation and she was healed. Amar Rav Yosef, Amar Rabbi Amar Rav, Hiskin Rebbe b'Sadis. Rebbe made a takana and enacted a takana in Sadis. The following takana: Rasa Yom Echad Teishav Shisha B'hu. We know that an Isha, when she initially sees Dam, she's a Niddah, and she's a Niddah for the next 7 days, including her day of Riyah, plus an additional 6 days. And then she is Tue Jul. A Zavar, on the other hand, has different halachas. During the Yemei Ziva, the days of Ziva, which come following the Yemei Niddah, during those days, if she sees 1 day, she shemeres Yom K'neged Yom, she has to observe 1 clean day, corresponding to the Yom Tumah. She sees 2 days, she needs to observe the 3rd day, B'Tahara. She sees 3 days, she needs to observe Shiva Nekiyim, count 7 clean days, and then go to the mikveh. Rebbe was concerned that in this place called Sadeh, the people were not so learned and not so well versed with all these different halachas and various applications of these halachas, and therefore Rebbe enacted a takana which will be all-encompassing, which will address any situation, that an Isha needs to adopt the most stringent halacha in order to cover for any possible scenario. Again, Hiskim Rebbe b'Sadeh, Rebbe was masakin in Sadeh. Rasa Yom Echad, if she sees 1 day, Teishav Shisha B'hu, she needs to observe another 6 days of Yemei Niddah, including the first day, for a total of 7 days. Shnayim, Isha sees 2 days in a row. In that case, perhaps the first day was from the Yemei Ziva. The second day was the beginning of her Yemei Niddah. In that case, she can't be Tue Jul until she has another 6 days. If the second day is the first Yemei Niddah, she needs to have another 6 days for a total of 7 Yemei Niddah. So in that case, as Rav, Teishav Shisha Behein, she needs to wait 6 more days and then be Tue Jul. Shloishav, she sees 3 days in a row. At this point, we're concerned perhaps she's a Zava. She's at the point of Yemei Ziva. Teishav Shiva Nekiyim, she assumes the stringency of a Zava and needs to observe 7 clean days and then be Tue Jul. Amar Rav Zera, we're going to take it a step further. Women from Klal Yisrael have accepted a stringency upon themselves, since there are all kinds of different variations and manifestations and complications. So they mukabel on themselves, they accepted on themselves a stringency, that under any circumstance they will assume that they are a Zava and need to be safer, need to observe Shiva Nekiyim. Even if they see a minute amount of dam, the size of a mustard seed, they consider themselves to be a Zava and obligate themselves to be safer Shiva Nekiyim, 7 clean days. Now, the Rishonim point out that although this was enacted as a chmir al atzman, as a mere stringency that they accepted on themselves, but nevertheless, eventually this was accepted by the Chachmei Yisrael and was enacted as a takana, as a halacha psuka, which is universally binding, as we follow today. Continues the Gemara. Ad berei Rava l'Rav Shmuel. Rava took a walk with Rav Shmuel, v'darash, and he taught him. Karshasa shnei yamim. If an Isha had childbirth pains and as a result she saw dam, and this went on for 2 days, lo shlishi pila, and the 3rd day she miscarried. Now we know the halacha of kishoy, that if an Isha sees dam as a result of childbirth pains, if it takes place immediately before the childbirth, the days preceding the Leda, then she cannot become a Zava on that account. However, in this case where she miscarried, Rava taught Rav Shmuel that this is not considered to be a Leda, it does not have a halachic validity as a Leda, and therefore, the kishu, the dam that she experienced prior to the miscarriage, is not considered kishu of a Leda, rather ordinary dam, ziva, which is matamer. Kashus Shnei Yom, if she had kishu for 2 days, well, shlishi pila, on the 3rd day she miscarried. So now she saw dam for 3 days in a row, because during the miscarriage she experienced dam as well. Teishav Shiva Nekiyim, she's considered to be a Zava who is required to observe 7 clean days. Kasavar, what is the basis for this? Ein kishu nefalim. He held that a nefel, a miscarriage, is not considered to be a Leda regarding the halacha of kishoy, the halacha of kishoy will not apply in this case. So therefore, the 2 days preceding the Leda, the dam that she saw then constitutes dam ziva, which is mitzameh her. In addition, when she miscarried, efshar, it cannot be lefsichas hakever b'ledam, the opening of the kever, which is a mashal for the womb. It cannot be that will take place without her seeing any dam. And therefore, at the miscarriage, during the hapala, inevitably she has experienced dam as well, for a total of 3 days of dam in a row, which render her a ziva. Why are you required to present this halacha in a scenario where she had kisha and she saw dam 2 days prior to her Leda? At that point, she needs to do shiva nekim. Afilu mashu ba'alma. Even if Isha were to see only a drop, a mashu, that would be sufficient to obligate her to do shiva nekim. As we learned before, that Bnei Yisrael, Jewish women, had accepted upon themselves a chumrah, even with a mashu dam, they observe shiva nekim. Amalei. So he told them, Amina lach isur, I'm speaking about a isur deraisa, a biblical isur. I'm not speaking about a takana. I'm talking about the original halacha midaraisa. Vat amrs menhaga, and you're presenting me with a minhag. What you're talking about is merely a custom that Bnei Yisrael achmir al atzman. Heichad achmar achrur, in a place where they accepted upon themselves this chumrah, they are machmer. Heichad lo yachmer, in a place where they haven't accepted upon themselves lo yachmer, they are not machmer. So that is the reason why I presented it in this specific case, because in this case, where she actually saw dam 2 days prior to her Leda, and then saw dam during the Leda, at this point she's a zava midaraisa min haTorah. It is a biblical obligation. You're speaking of minhag that Bnei Yisrael were machmer al atzmam, which is on a totally different plane, in a totally different realm. Again, as the Rishonim point out, and Bizman Hazeh, of course this is a universally binding halacha that even a mashu of dam requires shiva nekim. Continues the Gemara. Omar Rava. We have a list of 6 halachas in the name of Rava. Tavor l'nasei v'nispaisa. If marriage was proposed to an isha and she accepted, tzricha shateshev shiva nekim. She needs to observe 7 clean days, ascertain that she's fully clean, and then be toivel. Why is that? Says Rashi, Shema machmas tavas chimud ras adam. Perhaps as a result of the desire and the excitement of the pending marriage, that itself caused dam and made her tamei. Therefore, she needs to retire herself by keeping shiva nekim. Ravina iasekli librei. Ravina proposed a shidduch, a match for her son Beir of Chaviva in the home of Rav Chanina. Amarle sarvali mar lemichtav ksuva la'arba yayim. Do you intend to write a ksuva within 4 days? At the end of 4 days? Amarle, sure, no problem. Yes. Kimata la'arba. Once 4 days came along, notar adach ba'achrina. He delayed another 4 days. I'akev shiva yaymi, for a total of a 7-day delay, basar yayim, including excluding the first day. Meaning the first day that they made a shidduch, plus another 7 days was what he required in order to actually get married. Amalei, my hi, what's going on? Why are you delaying this much? Amalei lesavala mar lahad Rava. Do you not do you not agree with Rava's halacha? That Rava taught us tabol inasei. If an isha had a marriage proposal in his spice and she agreed, she needs to observe shiva nekim. Therefore, we needed to delay 7 days, in addition to the first day. Meaning, the first day the marriage was proposed and she accepted. On that day, we're concerned that she saw a mashu of dam, and therefore she's obligated to keep another 7 days of shiva nekim. So that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm delaying. Amalei eimor dama Rava b'gdoila dechazi damya. Rava is only speaking about a gdoila, an isha who is already at the point that it is usual for her to see, it is common for her to see dam. At that point, we're concerned that perhaps she will indeed see dam niddah as a result of the excitement as well. Aval biktana delechazi dama miyamar. However, regarding a ktana, a girl who is merely a ktana, who has not yet come of age to see dam niddah, is there a concern there as well that she will see dam machmas the chimud, machmas the excitement? Amarlei, so he told them, beferish amar Rava. Rava specifically stated his halacha irrelevant of her age. Leishnak doila, leishnak tana. Doesn't matter at what point in life she's holding. Gedoila of time of mai. What is the concern by a Gdoila? Because she has a desire, and as a result she will see Dam, Ktana Nami, the same concern applies to Ktana as well, Mechamda, since she has the excitement, and the same concern will apply, and she's required to be Shemer, Shiva, Nikim. Amarav, another halach. Isha lo yisachuf, an Isha, when she cleanses herself, when she scrubs herself, when she prepares herself for Tefillah, she removes all chatzitzas from, specifically we're speaking about the chafifa of the saris, of the hair. She shouldn't do it like beneser, but like bechoil, she shouldn't use an agent called neser, or choil, sand. Why? Because this will actually complicate matters. Beneser, from the miktaf, neser will detach some of the hairs, and actually instigate a chatzitza. The hairs will get all entangled, and the loose hairs will get entangled with the rest of the hair and will constitute a chatzitza. Ubechoil, why shouldn't she use sand? Mishum de masrich, because it makes the hair cling to each other, and that too is a chatzitza concern. Va'amar meimem shmei derava, isha lo yisachuf, and Isha should clean herself before mikveh ella b'chamin, only with hot water, to make sure that she is thoroughly cleansed of any chatzitzas. Aval b'tzayin, not with cold water. Afilu b'chami chama, she may use even water which was heated by the sun. That too is considered to be chamin and will do a proper job. Says the Gemara, what's wrong with using cold water? Because the cold water has a stiffening effect on the hair and will make cleaning difficult and poses a chatzitza concern. A person should instruct within his home. She should rinse, she should properly clean beis kamateha b'mayim. All her folds, she should properly clean them as well b'mayim, to make sure there's no chatzitza even in concealed areas. So we see from here that Rava is concerned with the chatzitza which is present in a concealed, in a beis hakemet, in a beis hastarim of an isha. Meisvei, we have a brayso which seems to indicate not so, that a beis hakmatam, that a beis hastarim does not constitute a chatzitza concern. Only if the chatzitza is present on a revealed portion of a guf, that has a halacha of chatzitza, but not in a beis hastarim. Meisvei, we learned in a brayso, beis hakmatam, a fold, or beis hastarim, and a hidden place, einan tzrichim lebias mayim. There is no requirement for mayim to enter there, says the Gemara. If so, there's no requirement of bias mayim, why are we concerned about a chatzitza present in those areas? Why does Rav instruct an isha to cleanse all the beis hastarims to ensure there's no chatzitza? Says the Gemara, it's true the bias mayim labinan. In actuality, one is not required to have the water enter that area. For instance, in the mouth, an isha closes her mouth when she's in the mikveh. There's no din that water has to enter her mouth. However, makom haroy lebias mayim binan. One is required to have his beis hastarim fit for entry of water, meaning there cannot be any chatzitzas in that area which would theoretically prevent water from coming into contact with that area. Therefore, although lamaisa practically there is no requirement for the mayim to enter the beis hastarim, but nevertheless she has to ascertain, she has to make sure, she has to cleanse her beis hastarim from any chatzitzas. Where do we find a similar concept that something is not required in practice, but in theory it is? There's a halacha regarding ikara mincha that up until 60 yisaron measurements of flour, one may use just one measurement of a lug of shemen to blend them. It can be successfully blended with only one lug. However, once you pass that threshold of 60 yisaron, it's too big, it's too large of a quantity of flour. At that point, the flour doesn't get properly blended with the lug of oil. You need to add more oil. Says Reb Zera, I have a kasha. We know that the halacha of bila, the mitzvah of blending a mincha, is merely a mitzvah. It is not ma'akiv. It does not invalidate the mincha if somebody neglects to do bila. So how can you say that this is a determinant factor in the kashrus of the mincha? If it can be blended, it's kosher. If it cannot be blended properly, it's pasul. Blending is not even ma'akiv. It doesn't even invalidate the mincha. It is not absolutely required. So how can that be a condition in the kashrus of a mincha to begin with? Says Reb Zera, a novel concept. Surely, in actuality, even if they neglect to do bila, the mincha is kosher. However, if a mincha is not unable to have proper bila, if it's not the proper proportions of flour and oil, then it is possible. This is not a mincha that the Torah instructed you to bring. It's as if, the Rashbam says, it's as if the Torah requires a mincha of chitim, and he doesn't follow instructions. He brings a mincha, instead of wheat, he brings some sa'ir from barley. There's different minhas, different type of mincha. So too, regarding the proportion, the amount of flour in proportion to the oil, one is required to bring a properly proportioned mincha, which can have theoretically bila done to it. Otherwise, this is not the mincha as described in the Torah. The Arab Zera kol haroy bila. If the mincha consists of the proper proportions and it is fit, it is roy to have the proper blending done to it, in that case, ein bila ma'akeves boy. The actual masa bila blending is really not ma'akev. The mincha is kosher even without it. But the she'ein roy bila, if the mincha cannot theoretically even have bila done to it, in that case, bila ma'akeves boy, the fact that the Torah instructs that they do bila, that indicates that the mincha at least has to be roy, has to be enabled for the maas of bila. Similarly, in our case, even though in practice one is not required to have the mayim reach the beis hastarim, however, in theory, it needs to be enabled, it needs to be roy to have the mayim reach it. Continues the Gemara, Omar Rabban bar Rav Ada, Omar Rav Yitzchak, Maaseh b'shivchasei shel Rebbe. There was a story that took place with the shivcha, with the slave maiden of Rebbe. Shetavla ve'olsa, she was toivel v'nimtzela etzem choitzes and shnea. And after tefillah, they found a bone between her teeth. This is a chatzitza in a concealed area in the beis hastarim. V'yitzricha Rebbe tefillah cheres, and Rebbe required her to be toivel again on account of this chatzitza, although it was merely in a beis hastarim. It was in the mouth, which is a beis hastarim. Nevertheless, she was required to be toivel again, as we had learned earlier that a chatzitza, even in the beis hastarim, passes and validates the tefillah. V'marava, tavla v'olsa, if an isha was toivel, v'nimtza le'adav chatzitz. After tefillah, post tefillah, she finds a chatzitza. Now we're not sure when this chatzitza came. Did it arrive only after the tefillah, or before the tefillah, and invalidated the tefillah? Halacha is as follows: Im samach chafifa tavla. If this isha performed her chafifa, her cleansing, immediately preceding the tefillah, in that case, we have a right to assume that the chatzitza was not there, was not present during the tefillah, and only arrived now. In that case, she's not required to do a redo and to be chayf and be toivel again. Vimlav, if the chafifa, there was a time between that elapsed between the chafifa and the tefillah, in that case, we are concerned perhaps the chatzitza arrived during that interim period. She has to be chayf and toivel again. Ikadamri, there's another version of this halacha. She was chayf same day as the tefillah. In that case, we assume there was no chatzitza during the tefillah, and she's not required to be chayf and toivel again. But if it took place on a different day, in that case, tzricha lachav lidvel, we're concerned that a chatzitza arrived in between the chafifa and the tefillah, and she needs to be toivel again. What is the difference, the practical halachic difference between the two shittas, between these two versions? The difference is as follows. If one is required to do chafifa immediately preceding the tefillah, meaning, generally speaking, an isha is required to be masmech chafifa tefillah, that is the preferred way. But in this case, where they found the chatzitza after tefillah, so that is the difference between the two shittas. According to the first shita, if she actually did do it properly, she did the chafifa close to the tefillah, in that case, there's no concern. If she did not do it close enough to tefillah, then we are concerned that there was a chatzitza before tefillah. According to the second shita, according to the second version, it does not depend on samuch, even if it's not immediately preceding the tefillah, but rather the same day of the tefillah, that is sufficient to assume that there was no chatzitza there during the tefillah, and she is tar. There's a gersa inami, there's another difference between the two lashonos. If isha is chayfe by day and she's only toivel the following night, so then we have a practical difference between these two shittas. According to the first shitta, it depends on smichas, how close it was. If it was close to the tefillah, if the chafifa took place in close proximity to the tefillah, even if one took place by day and the tefillah at night, it is sufficient. According to the second shita, it needs to be same day only, strictly both performed on the same day. If the chafifa was b'yoyim and the tefillah was b'layla, in that case, there's room for concern that the chatzitza arrived in between and invalidated her tefillah, and she needs to do a re-tefillah. Amar Rava, one more halacha, isha le'samad al gabe kei le'cheres v'titba. An isha should not place herself, should not stand on top of earthenware, kalim, vessels, v'titboil, and be toivel. Why? So Rav Kana lemeimar, Rav Kana figured, what is the reason? Mishum taimamai, what is the reason for Rav is Isser? Mishum gzeres mechatzois, because of Gzera, Chachamim enacted a ruling so that Anisha would not confuse a mikveh with a bathhouse. Since this was the practice to use kalim in a bathhouse, and we know that a tub of water is not a kosher mikveh, so in order to avoid confusion, Chachamim disallowed any practices that are done in a bathhouse during the tefillah of the mikveh. Says the Gemara, Ha al gabi silta shavar dami. If she would stand al gabi silta on a block of wood, that would be fine, because this is not a kli. The gzeir would not apply to a block of wood. What is the reason? What is the true reason for the isser of being toivel on top of kalim? It has nothing to do with gzeras merchatzois, not to confuse it with the bathhouses, but rather mishum beisa. The reason why she is not meant to stand on top of kalim is because she's afraid. She's afraid to stand on top of something and be toivel. And in that case, we're concerned that perhaps because of her apprehension, she will not be toivel properly. That is the reason for the isser to be toivel on top of klei cheres. Sultanami, so too in the case of a block of wood, she may not stand on it to beisa because she's afraid, and perhaps she will not be toivel properly. So in conclusion, Rava taught us 6 halachas. First of all, tabur linase, if an isha agreed to marry, she needs to wait shiva nekiyim. The second halacha of Rava, isha should not do chafifa with agents that detach hair or make the hair cling. The third halacha was that an isha is required to use hot water to do chafifa. The next halacha of Rava was an isha needs to make sure that even her beis hastarim are free of any chatzitzas. And the next halacha of Rava, that if an isha finds a chatzitza post tefillah, it depends when her chafifa was done, and according to that we determine whether there's grounds to be concerned that there was a chatzitza prior to tefillah. And the final halacha of Rava, do not stand on top of a kli, and as the Gemara concludes, even on top of a block of wood during tefillah. Perhaps she will be afraid and will be apprehensive, and is concerned that perhaps she will not do her tefillah properly.